So here's an update to a pretty popular video I covered a few days ago, which is titled, Girlfriend asks for open relationship and is hysterical when I dump her and walk right out the door. And guys, as a quick recap, that's about the young guy. He's only 20 years old, handled things like a boss, when his girlfriend of a few years, out of nowhere, brings up the idea of an open relationship. And when he started prying, it turned out that she 100% already had a guy in mind to have her fling with. And boom, he dumps her right in the spot and walks out the door. Well, as you recall, it wasn't long before he was getting bombarded with phone calls and messages from his mom yelling at him about the whole breakup thing and about how she's not going to classes and she's not eating and all this and making him out to be the bad guy, even though she, the girlfriend, is the one that started this whole thing. And even got his dad involved in the whole thing. And I advised him, number one, good for you, you handled it well. Number two, you're done with her. You're not going to go back to a girl like that. And the odds are she is definitely already cheating and making the point these open relationships don't work. And you better tell your mom to back the hell off. And not to mention get your dad to be aware of the situation. Well, here we are with an update. And things have gotten much worse with the girlfriend and also his mom. And it turns out that, as you're going to see, the old joke I had about women and accountability, because they don't have any, it goes to a whole new level with this. Because wait till you see how his mom and the mother of the girlfriend react when some things start getting pretty bad. And oh yeah, wait till you see about the, typical trickle truthing from the wives. So it continues saying, hello everyone. Excuse any grammatical errors or spelling, I'm a little tipsy at the moment. Yeah, he's drinking. You can't blame him with what you're about to hear. I want to start this with a trigger warning. There is attempted offing oneself involved in this story. So if you can't take that step, please don't read it. As some of you advise, I gave my part of the story to my dad, and he replied a few hours later, and put it shortly, he did not know, and surprisingly my uncle and his best friend and my girlfriend's father also didn't know. In other words, they didn't know. All the guys weren't made aware that the girlfriend asked for an open relationship and had a guy in mind. His mom and the girlfriend's mom left that part out. Shocker. The trickle truthing. The only two people who actually knew what actually happened outside of me breaking up with her suddenly and leaving her crying was my mom and hers. They don't change. Doesn't make a difference what age they are. Couple snakes in the grass. And what makes this so shitty is that like 2 hours after that, my mom called me crying and asked if I'm happy that my dad basically screamed at her and that I potentially am ruining 2 marriages over a harmless question from what she told me, and my uncle wasn't too happy either with being left in the dark. The mom's yelling at him. It's your fault that your dad's yelling at me for lying to him about the whole thing. Are you kidding me? This is a horrible mother. This young guy's 20 years old. She needs to be a good mother to him, not blaming him for her mistakes. We're not done yet. It gets way worse. If I'm the father, and I question really if this young guy here is the father's son here, I'm questioning a lot here. He says, like at this point, I just hung up on her because I'm already under enough mental stress, and now knowing that the 2 long-term relationships are potentially being ruined by and honestly, I'm still doubting myself. Good for him hanging up on the phone to his mom. She deserved it. I said in the last video, mom's on probation, and basically I'm going to be talking to mom for a while. Now she's blaming him for this? I'd be like, don't ever fucking call me. I just try to focus on making a project at the internship I'm at right now, but I think I effed that up as well, so there's that. And like today, I suddenly got multiple phone calls from my mom in the morning, and while my girlfriend attempted to hang herself and is in the hospital. Whoa! I mean, look, I don't want anybody to end their life and all, but I gotta say this. A lot of times when people, they say attempted to do that, usually they didn't really want to do that. Because in the end, I have found, and I have experience in this, I got a family member that's a lot of problems, out of rehab a lot, and has had attempts, if you will. If they want to do it, they'll do it. Otherwise, it's a cry for help or attention and drama. And what do you want to bet that maybe the mom and aunt put her up to this or made the whole thing up to get attention? I don't know. I have to think that way. I don't remember most of the conversation, but I just went home as fast as possible, and I spent a lot of money on a taxi. I don't know it's funny that I remember things like that, but not the conversation about my mom telling me my girlfriend attempted to do that. I'm just really mentally ill because my brain doesn't find that too important. Maybe it's justified that I got slapped after being brought to the hospital. My girlfriend's mom did that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just such a mess in my head at the moment. Let me backtrack here. He got to the hospital after finding out that the girlfriend's in there for attempted to hang herself, and her mom smacked him. What did he do? He broke up with her because she wanted to have an open relationship, hook up with other guys, and had a guy in mind, and he ended it with her. As any guy's allowed to break up with someone, and she's blaming him and smacking him. That's assault, and he has every right to go to the police. I'm sorry I can't give a better detailed story here, but I remember being angry and screaming at her after slapping me, because why am I being blamed for all this? Exactly. I'm just under a lot of stress at the moment, and it feels like everything is going wrong. Why me? I've done nothing wrong to anybody. Why does this happen to me? 4 weeks ago, everything was going fine. Why couldn't she just be normal and not ask that stupid question? The one good part here is that my dad is by my side, and he just brought me back home after my fight in the hospital, and I've just been drinking a lot of beer with him. I love my dad. I'm happy he's here by my side. I honestly don't know what I've done without him. Holy crap, man. Yeah, his dad is great. I mean, the dad, remember I told you in the last story, the dad was reaching out to him about the whole thing? I said, I bet you dad doesn't know, and mom is manipulating him. That's exactly what's going on. But after the mom blaming him for them getting into a fight, and now them blaming him, at least the mother of her slapping him, assault, for her attempting to do that, no, there ain't no going back. If it was me, I'd call the cops. Now, is a DA or a judge going to throw the book at her for doing that? Probably he'll fall for the waterworks, but it's worth it. She can't get away with that. But regardless of what happens, I'd have nothing to do with that woman ever again. Ever. She doesn't have any right to freaking put her hands on him. Okay, it's not his fault. Okay? And as for the mom, after all that shit, I'm sure she was blaming him too for that. Nope. We're done, Mom. It was more important to his mother and her friend of being grandmas together than actually this young guy who did nothing. Women and accountability. I told you guys to a whole new freaking level here. So this young guy, stick with your dad, avoid your mom, and the drama ain't over with. Why would you want to it reinforced? Why he doesn't want to be with that girl? He dodged a big one here. And thank God at least this happened now, early on, than him actually marrying her and really seeing her true colors come out. Can you imagine being married to that family? But the way I see it, Mom, we're not having anything to do with each other for a very long time. And I'm sure the dad's looking at the bigger picture here. Now, a few comments before I wrap this up. One guy says here, she brought the open relationship and had a guy in mind. You made a good call for yourself by not staying. You can't be blamed for your parents' relationship because, one, they are grown adults responsible for their own actions, and two, it implies you should have stayed with your ex for their sake despite it not being in your best interest. You cannot be blamed for your girlfriend's attempt for these same reasons. She's a grown adult. She brought something up that is a deal breaker for so many people. She likely didn't have your best interest in mind either. Well, no. You rarely broke up with her. Breakups happen all the time. How she deals with it is up to her. Again, the alternative is to stay to prevent her from trying to end herself. That's essentially the premise of blackmail. Your girlfriend's mom had no right to slap you. One, because adults shouldn't be slapping people, and two, it's not your fault. Stay with your dad, stop drinking, try to stick to good habits. Therapy is helpful. Journaling, too, helps a bit with preventing those looping thoughts. Well, he's allowed a few beers after what happened here, but yeah. And another one, this guy says, your life isn't a mess, hers is. You don't need to be part of her life for 1 second longer. She, her mom, and your mom are unhinged. Even if she had never asked to open it, you can end a relationship for any reason you want. No one, not even the ex-girlfriend, gets to demand you stay together. And honestly, be glad this happened. You got to see how she handles things when she doesn't get her way. Stay strong, block anyone, including your mom. If they continue to give you shit, focus on healing. Hey, freaking men. Good luck to you, young brother. You handled yourself well before. And again, remember, guys, he's 20. He somehow naturally thought that his mom would not turn on him and make her fantasy about being a grandma with a best friend and all that type of thing more important than him. But there's the reality there. And I'm sure there's a lot more skeletons in mommy's closet, let me tell you. But I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the end of the story, so if I see any updates to this, or you do, let me know how it goes.